From has never been unafraid to kill its characters, and this has continued into Season 3, where no one, not even prominent and fan-favorite characters, is safe. It was established from the very beginning in Season 1, as From's horrific monsters savagely killed Megan Pratt, Bella Martin, and her young daughter, Lauren Pratt, and Doyle, during the show's cold open. The brutality continued with Bingqian Liu, Simon Shin, Frank Pratt, Bob Mann, Nathan Myers, Paul Zino, one of the most prominent characters, Father Katri, Sean Majumder, and many others dying as Season 1 unfolded. Season 2 amplified the threats that From's cast of characters faced in the town as many of the residents began to experience disturbing hallucinations that ended in death. Thanks to Boyd Stevens, Harold Perrineau, the source of those lethal hallucinations has been seemingly neutralized, but this victory comes with consequences, as the monsters and the town itself have become more ruthless and manipulative than ever before. From characters who have been beloved series regulars since Season 1 to those only recently introduced in the newest episodes, Season 3 once again has a heavy death toll. 4. Tianqian Liu. Played by Elizabeth Moy. Tianqian Liu, Elizabeth Moy, was the first death in from Season 3 and the most devastating to occur yet in the series. She has always been one of From's best characters and has proven to be a pillar of the community, which is partly why the monsters targeted her specifically in Season 3, Episode 1. After the monsters freed the township's animals, Tianqian and Boyd helped round up the escaped animals and brought them back to the barn, where several of the monsters were already waiting for them, and proceeded to restrain both Boyd and Tianqian. Boyd was forced to watch and tried to speak comforting words to Tianqian as her head was ripped open, and the monsters feasted on her body. This set the tone for the monsters escalating their cruelty in retaliation against Boyd for claiming the town could not break him. Not since Father Katri's death in Season 1 has there been a character death this prominent, and this one was even more gut-wrenching to watch than what happened to Father Katri. Boyd, Tianqian's son, Kenny, Ricky He, Jade, David Alpi, and every individual in the town were left heartbroken. While this loss was deeply tragic for everyone, it has been particularly hard on Kenny, who has now lost both of his parents to the monsters. Kenny was not even in the town when Tianqian was killed because he was in the forest with Jim Matthews, Ian Bailey, as Jim continued to search for his wife, Tabitha Matthews, Catalina Sandino Moreno. From twisted the knife even further by having Kenny and Jim find healthy crops that ensure the township's residents will not starve, only for Kenny to return and discover that his mother was murdered by the monsters. How Tianqian died speaks to her character as she chose to leave the safety of her house at night to save as many animals as possible. She knew that after all the crops went rotten, they could not afford to lose the only remaining food source available to them. Even when Boyd told Tianqian that she had done enough and that she needed to go back, she insisted on staying with him and working together to get the animals into the barn. Tianqian died risking her life to help the community and to give them a future. The paramedics, played by Kim Wyatt Mackenzie and Callum MacDonald. After Tabitha and Henry, Robert Joy, were in a car accident in from Season 3, Episode 3, they were put in an ambulance with 2 paramedics aboard. When the ambulance ended up in the town, the 2 paramedics went to help a seemingly unconscious woman lying face down in the street despite Tabitha imploring them not to do so. The woman was one of the monsters who proceeded to slash the paramedics' bodies open after they turned her over, leaving them to bleed out and die in the streets. Given all the medical crises that happen in the town, the paramedics could have been quite helpful. Instead, they become the monsters' latest victims. Their deaths are another example of how much the monsters enjoy toying with their prey, with the sport of it being even more important than the actual kills. The monsters took advantage of the paramedics' penchant for helping others, luring them out of their ambulance, and causing them to lower their guard when they turned the woman over, only for her to transform into her monstrous form and have the paramedics' flesh cut open seconds later. Even though the paramedics are dead and cannot directly assist Christy, Chloe Van Lanschut, or Marielle, Kaylin Ohm, with solving any medical problems, the ambulance they arrived in is arguably even more valuable to the township's residents. Christy and Marielle can use the medical resources aboard the ambulance to help their patients. They did not deserve to die in such a gruesome and horrific manner, plus the resources that came with the ambulance are now lost.